Hey, what's going on, guys? This is Mike Kollin at crackedfemalecode.com. Okay, so I just made a video that was 50 minutes long. It's just way too long. So I'm cutting it in half. This first half of the video is going to be about my credentials, my work with Buddhist monks, Buddha Kam, Buddha Chandi, and a couple other monks, and stuff that I learned outside of the box, okay? Like energy healing and how does this apply to understanding women. My course is going to blow you away. The next video, I'm going to give you a series of techniques and dating tips and seduction tips, something that really attracts women to you. I'm going to give you a little bit of insight into my background. It's going to blow you away. Okay, so before I get into this, I want to give you a little bit of my credentials. I'm not some guy who just walked off the street with an ego saying, hey, I'm going to teach you how to meet women. No. Number one, I did go to college. I went to Arizona State and studied psychology, and I got involved in neuro-linguistic programming. That really became one of the bases of my background. Now, some people say, oh, so you went to like a weekend course? No. I went to about 10 5-week courses in the first probably 3 or 4, maybe 5 years. I went to 2-week courses. Now, these courses essentially are about 8 to 9 hours a day. They're all day long trainings. So real quick, I am a certified master hypnotherapist. I am a certified NLP trainer. That's the top level. I'm a certified master practitioner of timeline therapy. I'm certified in HNLP, neuroassociative conditioning. I trained with Tony Robbins for years. Now, let me kind of put this into perspective. After college, and it was actually during the 3rd and 4th year I started getting involved with NLP and Ericksonian hypnosis and timeline therapy. So I studied NLP and hypnosis, etc. for 12 years without taking a break. Out of all of those, only one course was a weekend course. The rest of them were minimum 7 days, 10 days, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and 5 weeks. I'm really good at helping people make shifts inside. Another part of my background is I studied with Buddhist monks off and on for about 12 years. It was during that period and then after the period of studying NLP. I have an image coming up where I'm at a Buddhist temple actually teaching monks. One thing I want to say is, believe it or not, but there is quite a few things that I learned from the Buddhist monks, Buddhism. And okay, here's the difference. Okay. You get people that go to temple once a week and they do the bowing and the praying and you know, the whole thing with like the 100, 200, 300 people. I never did that. When it comes to Buddhist traditions and the proper this and the proper that, other than bowing and a few other things, I don't really know the rules. Because I went there to, number one, do healing on myself, to have the monks help me to heal. The other thing I did is I wanted to learn consciousness. I wanted to learn greater awareness. I wanted to learn energy healing. I'm also certified and trained in 3 different forms of energy healing: Reiki, Huna, and pranic healing. I also studied with someone for about 20 years on something called energy medicine. It's actually more than 20 years. At one point, I was meditating every day for 12 years, about an hour to 2 hours in the morning and at least an hour at night, right before I went to bed. Every day. I did not miss a single day in 12 years before I finally took a break. On the weekends, I would meditate a minimum of 4 hours to 8 hours on average, and then towards the end, I would actually meditate 15 to 16 hours a day. Now, the Buddhist monks received me in a way they didn't receive anyone else. My ex-girlfriend, she's Laotian, and she's like, I don't understand why they treat you like that. The very first day I walked into a temple, Buddha Kam made everyone bow to me. All the nuns, all the monks, and my girlfriend, and the other people there. Now, I'm going to kind of back out of the story, and I'm going to come back to it. So, when I was a little kid, my parents got divorced. We used to own 2 restaurants. One was Ken's House Pancakes in Vacaville, Vacaville, California. The other one was Tio Pancho's right across the street. So my parents got divorced, and then my dad moved out to Hawaii to help open up another Ken's House of Pancakes. He basically was the one who trained everyone to cook, to run the restaurant, to be the cashier, to be the waiters and waitresses. There's a certain way that they ran the business. So he was out there, I think, for about 7 years. So my dad had a connection with the Hawaiians. Now, he met Uncle George Naopi. Now, Uncle George Naopi literally is the big kahuna. Now, he has passed away recently, but he was the big kahuna for a long, long time. Now, my dad spoke to Uncle George, and Uncle George actually brought me up. Now, you're thinking, what do you mean he brought you up? Now, I never met him. My dad never mentioned anything. He gave my dad this little, oh God, what do you call it? I'm going to call it a tiki, but it's a little carving out of lava. And it had my name in it in the Hawaiian. It's Makai. And it was sent to me, and he told my dad, I'm going to meet your son one day. So many years later, my dad moves back to California, and I actually had to find my dad, and I did that purely by intuition. Now, I know that sounds nuts, but I've got, you know what, I'm going to start sharing these stories with you guys. It's about consciousness and the spirit. So one day when I was about, I think I was 19, 20 years old, I just jumped in my car, and it's like, I'm going to find my dad. And so I got, how did they do this? I just get in my car, and something told me to go down Highway 80, headed towards San Francisco. When I passed Vallejo in Benicia, there's this little bridge called the Benicia Bridge, and you go this exit to the right, spins you all the way down by the CNH building, and down there there's boats that you can rent that'll take you out to go sturgeon fishing. Okay, so I went down there, and there's a couple different places where you can walk in and buy bait and stuff like that, and I just picked this one. I walked in, and I walked up to this guy, and I go, you know my dad? He goes, what? I go, my dad's, and I told him my dad's name. I go, I want to see my dad. I haven't seen my dad since I was a little kid. So he denied it, and so what I did, I went back and I got a baseball bat, and then I came back it might have been the next day. I'm not sure if it's the next day, but I came back maybe within a day to a week later, and I remember going back down there, and I went in there and said, look, I don't want any money from my dad. I don't want no child support. I'm a grown adult. I go, I just miss my dad. I go, please give him my number. I know that you know my dad. Now, how did I know that? I have no idea. I'd never been this place in my life. So shortly after, my dad called me, and I drove down to Mountain View, and I saw him at the restaurant. He was working at the Ken's House Pancake there in Mountain View, California. And eventually I ended up moving in just because I wanted to get to know my dad. Now, when I was a kid, my dad was awesome, but my mom kicked him out, pushed him away, etc., etc. So I always loved my dad, and so I lived with him for 1 year, and here's something that happened that was very interesting. It didn't happen right away. This is me with the monks. That is Buddha Chandi on the right, and Buddha Mai, I believe, is the one in the middle, or it's the far one. I always get their names mixed up. So one day my dad pulled me aside and said, hey Michael, we need to talk. Now mind you, I was only about, I think 20 years old or so, something like that. And I'm like, well, what's going on? I remember it was Saturday. He had his day off. And I didn't have to go to work that day. I was like, what? And he goes, Michael, this is really serious. I'm like, okay. So he was telling me about this man in Hawaii when the volcano went off. God, I forget the name. I'm not even going to guess. I want to say Kilauea on the Big Island. And what happened was the lava was going down towards Hilo, the city on the, I want to say the north side. I could be wrong. But that's where my dad's restaurant was, and it was going to wipe out the city. And there's literally nothing they could do. You can't stop it. You can't stop lava, okay? So Uncle George Naopi, the big kahuna, he literally walked up the side of the hill or the mountain, whatever you want to call it, and he stopped at a certain point and he started chanting. I think he had a stick. Now here's the deal. This was in the news in the 70s. This was on television. So my dad was telling me about this. I said, yeah, I remember that. He goes, well, that's Uncle George. He's the big kahuna of Hawaii. So he said to me, and here's the deal, his eyes just kind of went like black. They kind of went, the pupils dilated really large. It was really weird, like, whoa. I looked at my dad, and he leans forward, and he said, you're going to meet Uncle George one day. He needs to talk to you. So I kind of laughed at my dad, like, oh, Dad, I don't have enough money to go to Hawaii, and I doubt I'll have enough money to go there for a long, long time, because we were poor. I was poor especially. And he goes, no. He goes, trust me, you're going to meet him. So I wrote it off as my dad was just being really weird. Okay. And so about a year goes by, maybe 2 years go by, and I really got hooked on NLP. I was in college studying psychology, and I didn't really like it. I thought there had to be something better. And I literally prayed, like, God, there has to be something better to help people. So lo and behold came Tony Robbins. I went to his Date with Destiny seminar, and I was like, I got the money out of nowhere. I was like, holy shit. And then I wanted to go. So first I went to the Firewalk UPW. That was about $800 or $900 at the time. This is back in the early 90s, about 91, 92, something like that. And then what happened was I got so fired up. I was like, I want to go with a Date with Destiny, which was a 5-day training, but that was like really uber expensive. And what I did was I actually took out 2 college loans to pay for it. So I'm on fire. I'm like, well, where do I learn how to do this? And at the time, Richard Bandler was suing Tony Robbins for using the word NLP. And they went to court, and Tony had to pay him $5 million, and he wasn't allowed to teach it or certify people. So then Tony eventually called it neuroassociative conditioning, which later I started to train in. But someone said, hey, you can learn this in Hawaii. There's a company called Advanced Neurodynamics with Dr. Tad James, who recently has passed away. So I go to this training, and I am jacked through the roof. I'm in Hawaii. I'm going to learn the best psychology on the planet and communication models. I was on fire. I'd probably read our 8 books of NLP and all of Tony Robbins' books, and I've been to these mini trainings and weekend certification courses and all kinds of stuff. And this was a major 5-week training. So we went through the Practitioner. I think it was about a 10-day or 11-day course, if I remember right. And then the maybe it was a little bit longer than that. Actually, I think it was 2 weeks. And then the Master Practitioner was about 3 weeks, because I remember being there for 5 weeks. So it had to be something like that. So I remember somewhere along the lines, I think it was the first week of the Master Practitioner, we were sitting in class, and Dr. Tad James says, hey, we're going to learn a little bit about Huna, the Hawaiian energy healing. I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that was part of the course. And it was written in the curriculum, but all I cared about was NLP, right? So I'm like, okay, that sounds cool. And he goes, I want to introduce you to the big kahuna, Uncle George Naopi. So he walks into the far corner of the room. I'm on the far left back, literally the last row, at the last chair at the very end. And this little man walks through. Now I was expecting a much bigger person, because this guy was very well respected in the islands, and there was just something big about his aura, his energy when people spoke about him. So he walks in the room, and he was in front. He walks in front of the front row and in front of Dr. Tad James. Dr. Tad James is introducing him, and he doesn't stop. And Tad kind of looks at him like, "Where the hell are you going?" And he went all the way to the end, and then he came all the way back as Tad's saying, Dr. Tad James is saying, "Oh, Uncle George, he's this, and he's created this, he's done this and done that, blah blah blah." And he comes back. Uncle George just completely ignores him. Comes all the way to the back, and he looks at me. He leans over and he leans into my face like my dad did, exactly like my dad did. And his eyes did that same thing where they kind of dilated and went black. And he said, "You are already a powerful healer." He goes, "You can heal anybody of anything." He goes, "All you have to do is open up again." Now, my roommate was next to me, and obviously the other people, and everyone was listening like, holy shit. And they're like, what? And he goes, no. And he kind of stands up. He goes, no. He goes, you are. And I'm like, no. He goes, you are. You've already done it before. Now, all these people that heard him say this to me were in absolute awe. In fact, one of the assistant trainers was there and was like, holy shit. And she went up and told Tad, and it was a really big deal for Uncle George to walk up to someone like that. One of the things about Uncle George, after a few days, he came up to me during one of the trainings and said, hey, I'm inviting you out to dinner with me and my friends. I want to talk to you some more. Now, here's the thing. I didn't realize, even though my dad said his name and the phrase Big Kahuna, it for some reason it didn't connect until years later. Like, holy shit, that was the same person. The funny thing is, when my dad leaned forward, it was the same eyes that when Uncle George looked at me. Now, the thing about it is there's something else that happened that was very similar. So here I am all fired up about energy healing now, and I think I was training in pranic healing at the time. Maybe Reiki, I don't remember. So I went to the Berkeley Psychic Institute. I've heard of it, but like, I don't want to go there. But someone said, no, just go there and have them do a reading on you. And I'm like, okay, well, what's a reading? Well, they read your energy. I'm like, oh, okay. So I walk in there, and they put me in a room with one of their, I don't know what you call them, healers or what. He was kind of a top guy, not a top guy, but up, at the top level. And he's doing a reading on me, and about 6-7 minutes later, he opens the door and he calls all like that the head person in and all the head trainers. You guys got to see this. So I'm like, what the hell is this guy talking about? So they were talking about my energy and about my lifetimes, and there's a certain word they used. I forgot. I'm drawing a blank right now, but they all came in like, holy shit. Now you might think, because this is what I thought. I thought they were just trying to make me feel good so I would join their group and pay them, but I didn't. I never went back. And I told them, I go, look, I'm not going to join this thing. I just wanted to kind of check you guys out. And they're like, no, you are a really, really powerful healer. All you have to do is open up. You already know how to heal. And if I didn't mention, I think I did, but that's what Uncle George said to me. He literally goes, you don't need to learn how to heal people. You already know how. And the guy at the Berkeley Psychic Institute was saying the same thing in front of his head trainers, and they're just like, oh my God. And so my girlfriend was getting a reading in the other room, and they just said, yeah, well, blah, 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 you need to heal this and heal that. They didn't say anything special. Now, this kind of has a point now. So then what happened was I went through a real huge spiritual awakening when I was 20 years old, and I went to all these different places like the Sikh temple in Sacramento, and I went to Japanese Buddhist temple in San Francisco. That guy was not awake at all. He was not spiritual. He was like a religious person. So I knew I had to move on and find something better. Like, there's got to be something better than this. And then it dawned on me, I'm looking at my girlfriend. She's from Laos. I'm like, wait a minute. Didn't you say you guys have a temple in Richmond that your brother built? She goes, well, yeah, why? I go, take me to the Buddhist monks there. And I'm like, please, I need to understand what the hell this thing that's happening to me is. She was very resistant because she felt like it was punishment, like it's like going to church. She felt like Sunday school, and they punish you and tell you you're bad. She was, I don't want to do it. And I'm like, please, and I begged her, and she finally took me, and I met Buddha Calm, and literally when I walked in, he made everyone bow to me. Now again, I thought it was just an ego stroke. He was trying to get me to join the Buddhism, and he wasn't. He just goes, you are a powerful healer. He goes, if I didn't say this is what the Berkeley Psychic Institute said. They said, you came here, you've been here many, many lifetimes. You were one of the first beings to come to this planet, and every lifetime you came, you've been a healer. So he said, you already know how to heal people. All you need to do is open up. So when I started going to him, now I had been meditating for years, and I was opening up, and this is why I was having all these wild experiences and knowing things. Like, well, okay, I'll give you one example of many. My sister Aaron was like, what do you mean you're awake? Like, what do you mean? And she goes, okay. And she grabs some cards and she holds it up. She goes, well, what is this card? What is this card? I'm like, well, what I want you to do is I want you to really visualize it in your mind. If it's a red of hearts, then imagine that red. And if it's a king or an ace or a three or three of clubs, you have to picture that. She goes, okay, boom. I called it King of Hearts, 3 of clubs, 2 of diamonds, and I was just boom, boom, boom. I did 10. She goes, you know what? You must have marked this card now. This was at her apartment. I never touched her cards. And they played cards a lot. So she went to her back room. She got a brand new deck out. It was still wrapped in plastic. She goes, now do it. I did 10 more in a row. And she literally started crying. She goes, how are you doing that? Another thing is that Buddha Calm and the monks would call me back into the back area where only the monks are allowed, okay? And she would always tell me after we go, she goes, that is the weirdest thing in the world. She goes, I've been going to the temple my whole life. I've never seen anyone that's not a monk be called back there. Well, Buddha Calm's like, he is a monk. And that's what she had told. This is what he said. I said, well, after he made everyone bow, he did a prayer and a chant for about 10 minutes, maybe longer. And he finished and he waved everyone off. And I go, ask him why he did that. And he goes, oh, you're the highest monk here. I'm like, no, I'm not a monk. And I'm kind of smiling. And he goes, yeah. He goes, you're a monk and you know it. And I'm like, no, I'm not. He goes, you know how to heal people. He goes, and you know that what I'm saying is true. It's like I knew it, but it was so hard for me to believe. There's a lot more to this. The things that, okay, I'll give you one quick example. One day when we were going to temple, it was in Stockton. We were driving through the countryside and I looked at a house and I'm like, oh my God. She goes, what? I go, that house is going to burn down before the next time we come here. And the next time we went there was in 5 days. She goes, what are you talking about? I go, that house is going to be completely flattened. It's going to be completely burned down. Sure enough, we went back there about 5 days later to go to temple. The house was burned to the ground. Number one, my point, you are going to learn things from me that you will never learn from Tony Robbins, Dr. John Gray, Men Are From Mars, Pickup Artist Courses, Mystery, any of these people. Your eyes are going to be opened. You will realize, I promise you, I swear this because it happens to every single client that I've worked with. You will go back to looking at those YouTube dating relationship sites and be like, holy shit, they literally don't know what they're talking about. They're giving you nothing. It's a bunch of nothing burgers. It's like 2 buns with no burger in it. You're like, there's nothing here. As Jesus said, you have eyes and you cannot see. You have ears and you cannot hear. I promise you, your eyes are going to be opened. You will see. Okay, the next video is going to be a series of tips, powerful secrets to seduction, dating, relationships, how to meet women, talk to women. There's a core secret hidden in each one of these tips that's going around the same thing. Watch the next video. I know you guys want tips, you want things to do. It's in the next video. That's what it's all about. Remember, grab my book, Cracked Female Code, at crackedfemalecode.com. It will get you on the path. Alright guys, that's it. Click subscribe, click the like button, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.